Being who you really are in a world that tries to mold you all the time is an act of courage. The chosen ones, those who carry light, truth, and mission, are easily identifiable, not by what they say, but by the impact they create. And it is exactly this impact that disturbs the inner self of people. Your way of living, thinking, and walking in alignment with your truth leaves many unsettled. Have you noticed how some people oscillate between admiring you and avoiding you? Between complimenting you behind your back and criticizing you to your face? This happens because your presence breaks their narrative. While many live trying to please, you live by owning who you are. This disarms. This confronts. This provokes a kind of confusion that words cannot explain. And as contradictory as it may seem, it is precisely this that makes them hesitate between envy and admiration. Because at heart, they would like to be as free as you. But freedom is scary. Being whole is uncomfortable. And that's why the chosen ones are always watched. Your authenticity is a mirror where others see everything they hid from themselves. Today we will explore why your truth is so disturbing, why your shine bothers, and why you attract as much respect as resistance. We are not talking about arrogance or appearance. We are talking about essence, about purpose, about a soul at peace with who it is. Prepare to understand why you are not loved by everyone, and why this is one of the strongest proofs that you were separated, anointed, chosen. Because those who were born to shine bother those who live in the shadow. And from now on, you will understand how to transform the discomfort you cause in others into fuel for your progress. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. When you enter a place and nothing seems the same, it is not an exaggeration. Your presence acts as a mirror that returns to people images they have avoided for a long time. Some approach with curiosity, others retreat, because seeing one's own shadow frightens them. This change in the environment happens because your authenticity requires an internal adjustment from those who live in disguise. Many learn to function as characters. They smile when they do not feel joy, agree when they disagree, adjust the tone to fit. This creates a safe pattern for coexistence, but fragile for facing the truth. When someone emerges who lives without a script, who does not seek approval at every step, this pattern trembles. The effect is silent, but profound. The reflection you provoke does not choose kindness. It reveals insecurities, wounds, and self-protection mechanisms. For some, this exposure is an invitation. It inspires the courage to look at oneself and change. For others, it is a threat. Feeling inferior in the face of another's freedom generates resistance. In this clash, two movements are born, admiration and envy, which manifest in different ways. Your peace carries weight. It is not necessary to ostentate to make others uncomfortable. A calm smile, a serene posture, a gaze that seeks no applause, already destabilizes those who depend on external reactions. Often silence is the loudest gesture. It shows that you do not need to be understood to exist. Those who live behind masks feel that silence cancels their script and react trying to regain control. When they try to label or diminish, the aim is usually to keep their comfortable order. Comparison is armed as a tool to level down. If they can make you smaller, they reaffirm that they do not need to change. But your reply, or the choice to not respond, dismantles this strategy. Showing coherence between word and action is a mode of preservation that deconstructs superficial attacks. Being a transformative presence does not mean seeking confrontation. It means insisting on your own truth, even under pressure. Your integrity acts as a point of attraction and also as a dividing line. People who seek growth approach. Those who prefer to keep the routine step back. This natural movement is not personal rejection. It is a difference of stage in each person's process. The difference between imitation and transformation is clear. While some try to copy gestures and habits, they lack the foundation that supports their choices. Essentializing what you live through involves understanding that authenticity is built with pain, disciplines, hits and falls. Copying without this process yields only appearance, not support. Therefore, copying always reveals a lack of depth. Admire and attack arise from the same source. Reaction to the mirror. The first signal is almost always ambivalent. Compliments mixed with comments that corrode. Watch the patterns. Those who praise and at the same time diminish are trying to keep internal balance at your expense. Your mission is not to fix this ambivalence. It is to remain integral, offering example, not burden. Your presence acts as invitation and boundary. It invites those who want to grow to perceive that there is a different path. It sets limits for those who need to maintain the comfort of illusion. Recognizing this effect allows you to choose more clearly where to invest energy. Not every reaction deserves a response. Some merely attest that you are in the right place, doing what you were called to do. Living this reality requires sensitivity and firmness. Sensitivity to perceive who approaches for transformation or for control. Firmness not to yield to provocations that derail from the purpose. Authenticity demands as much delicacy as courage. To continue like this is not a sign of superiority. It is a consequence of choosing alignment between being and acting. In the end, the impact you generate says less about you and more about the level of consciousness of others. When your presence bothers, you are probably activating something true and necessary. Breathe, stay coherent, and use others' reactions as a map. Where there is resistance, there is an opportunity to stay and to influence by example, not by competition. Knowing who you are produces effects that do not confine themselves to praise or criticism. Your firmness is a thorn for some and a beacon for others. When you keep boundaries and do not negotiate the essence, you create a point of tension. Many feel inspired, others challenged. This clash generates an emotional division in those who observe your journey. Most seek external validation as a map of value. Therefore, finding someone who does not need that map confuses. An unsettling question arises. How does this person stay? The doubt is simple, yet powerful, because it disturbs the logic of those who measure success by acceptance. The answer that another person finds in the face of this doubt defines the tone of the relationship. The dilemma that appears is basic: admire or diminish. Admiration leads to learning and recognition. Diminishing is an attempt to restore internal balance by disqualifying the other. The mechanism seeks to protect the fragile self-image. Those who have worked inwardly tend to choose to learn. Those who avoid that work protect themselves by attacking. Facing one's own shadow is a mature stage. Those who have confronted this process recognize the effort behind an authentic posture and offer respect. Those who do not face it prefer to drag others to the same level as a survival strategy. For those living in that zone, your presence works as proof that change is possible, and that scares them. Imitation appears because people want results without going through the process. Copying speech and appearance may yield momentary social advantage, but the foundation is missing. The essence is built with experiences, ruptures, and persistence. When someone tries to reproduce your posture without the journey, the result is fragile and evident. The shine without flame soon fades. Your mission is not to collect followers, but to be faithful to the call. This frees you from the pressure to please. Not every advance needs to be explained. Some steps only require coherence. While you move forward with integrity, There will be those who follow out of identification and those who react in defense. Accepting this reality prevents unnecessary wear. The decision to change is up to each person. You can be an example, inspire, point out paths, but you are not responsible for others' transformation. There are healthy boundaries between influence and pressure. Knowing when to offer support and when to keep distance is part of the work of keeping your own mission free from ego burdens of others. Moral and emotional confrontations arise when another's freedom exposes unmade choices. Your presence shows that it is possible to live aligned with deep values, and this acts as a catalyst. Some take advantage of this energy to grow. Others react with criticism or attempts to reduce your reach. This movement says more about their state than about you. The journey that brought you here was built with struggle. Therefore, the recognition you occasionally receive should be seen with balance. There are those who value you wholeheartedly, and those who only imitate for advantage. Learning to read this difference is important to avoid wasting time on relationships that only drain. Investing in those who show a willingness to grow yields longer-lasting fruits. Staying true does not mean closing oneself to dialogue. It means choosing authenticity as the criterion. Accepting legitimate criticism and discarding manipulation requires maturity. When you respond with clarity and respect, you show that real strength lies in coherence. Your truth does not need to be imposed. It sustains itself through consistent example. In the midst of this scenario, remember, the duality that forms around you is a sign of impact. Where there is a division between admiration and attack, there is transformation in potential. Continue along the path with serenity, knowing that your presence provokes choice. Whoever wants to grow will have a path by your side. Whoever does not will take another direction. Your task is to stay true to the call without getting lost in others' tensions. Your shine does not come from appearance or achievements. It arises from an inner light that blends courage, integrity, and purpose. This light is rare because it sustains itself even without applause. When you live like this, without making a scene, you end up forcing a silent confrontation. Others see what they had tried to keep hidden and must decide how to react. Many people learn to hide painful parts to avoid shame or rejection. These shadows operate as defenses that keep a predictable routine. Your shine does not create new shadows. It only lights them up. For some, this illumination is an opportunity for change. For others, it is a threat, because facing what is hidden requires courage and work. The human reaction to light is usually immediate. Those who do not want to grow prefer to attack what they do not understand. Criticisms camouflaged as opinions appear frequently. Smiles contain judgments. Withdrawals come disguised as personal space. This dynamic is not personal in the sense of being about you. It is a reflection of others' discomfort at being challenged. To be targeted does not mean you are wrong. It means you are visible. Visibility shows differences of choice and priority. Some interpret your piece as superiority and respond with hostility. Others mirror you and begin to review old behaviors. The same presence provokes opposite actions because each person has their own history with the truth. The mission of those who shine is to act as a contrasting marker. You do not need to convince anyone. Your life communicates more than words. By remaining integral, you offer a different parameter for those who observe. For those who want to change, this parameter serves as a map. For those who resist, it becomes an annoyance that must be erased or minimized. It is common for those who feel threatened to produce narratives to justify resistance. They claim concerns, ask questions that sound like attacks, or spread distorted versions of the facts. This relieves their internal pressure by shifting the blame outward. Understanding this mechanism helps not to internalize judgment, and to keep perspective on what is truly at stake. You do not need to prove your condition to those who prefer not to see. Remaining sincere is an act of protection and fidelity to your calling. When you accept to be a signal, you understand that reactions are indicators, not sentences. People who hesitate between envy and appreciation are, in practice, faced with a choice: grow or remain in the safety of the familiar. Not every affection is loyal. Not every critique is true. Knowing how to distinguish intention requires sensitivity. Some admire sincerely and support. Others disguise envy as concern. Discernment avoids entanglements that erode the energy needed to fulfill your purpose. Sometimes the wisest stance is respectful distance. Your freedom can be interpreted as an attack simply because it reveals possibilities that many have not assumed. The peace you carry unsettles because it dismantles justifications used to remain stagnant. It is painful to admit that one lived with less than one could. This pain often becomes defense, and the defense turns into accusation against those who live differently. Continuing to shine requires renewed courage. It is not about illuminating to win a dispute. It is about maintaining coherence when resistance appears. Each step held in truth strengthens the path, even if it means temporary isolation. Isolation is not a failure. It is a space of preservation for the mission to remain clear and uncontaminated. When the attempt to erase your shine fails, observe the natural response. The energy that seeks to diminish you returns to the one who emitted it. Standing firm in integrity provides an example of healthy resistance. People sensitive to the call begin to approach. The resistant tend to recalibrate their positions or seek another path. Your light is not a sign of ego, but of purpose. It indicates that something greater guides your choices and that your life has consequences beyond the immediate. This unsettles those who prefer superficiality, but it also inspires those who seek the true. Continuing on this path requires a daily decision to live in a way that the light keeps pointing without bowing to judgment or the pressure of those who fear to look at themselves. Often, criticism comes in a caring uniform. Phrases like, "Is this really for you?" "Be careful not to fool yourself too much," or "You've changed, huh?" sound like warnings, but they carry a hidden weight. Beneath the protective tone is a discomfort that isn't yours, it's theirs. They project doubts to hide the discomfort of seeing someone moving forward where they parked. When someone tries to slow you down with advice, observe the intention, not just the words. Genuine advice asks, listens, and offers paths without demanding immediate change. The mask of concern, on the other hand, seeks to control the pace of the other. It acts as a brake, slows down decisions, plants fear, and conditions you to seek external validation before acting. The root of this stance is almost always internal. Your faith, your courage, and your confidence expose contrasts that many would prefer to ignore. Another person's progress reminds others of what they avoided facing. Delayed dreams, safety-first choices, unhealed wounds. Instead of looking at their own process, they shift the tension onto you, criticizing or minimizing your movement. When you notice that the concern is a veil for envy, protect your balance. It's unnecessary to argue or prove anything. Responding with calm and clear boundaries is enough. Sometimes the best reaction is respectful distance. Keep your focus on your path and reduce exposure to voices that only try to deter your step. Silence and consistency are often more effective than heated defense. Another point: preserve your true support network. Identify people who vibrate with your growth without conditioning it on their approval. Those who celebrate your victory even without fully understanding the process are allies. Trust them for sincere feedback. This helps filter opinions and strengthen conviction when attacks disguised as care arise. It's also worth reviewing your inner process. Ask yourself, does this person know me deeply? Was my decision made with discernment? Are there elements worth revisiting? This self-reflection helps avoid confusing external resistance with legitimate critique. Thus, you remain open to learning and protected against emotional manipulation. Remember that your journey was revealed to you, not to others. Not everyone saw what you saw nor felt what you felt. That doesn't make your path superior, only personal. When people try to opine without understanding, your mission continues, regardless of approval. The essential validation is the alignment between action and purpose, not public opinion. Finally, stay brave and serene. Growth exposes, exposure unsettles, unsettling provokes reactions. Use these reactions as a thermometer. If many try to slow you down, you're probably advancing in something that matters. Step away from voices that undermine, welcome those who build, and let your path speak for itself. Your existence already contains the answer that some insist on denying. There is a weapon that the chosen ones carry, and many do not notice: intentional silence. While the world shouts, reacts, defends itself, and tries to prove its worth, the chosen one remains firm, in silence. Not because they are weak, but because they have already understood that answering is giving a stage to those who do not deserve an audience. The silence of someone who knows who they are has more strength than 1,000 arguments, because it shows control, it shows balance, it shows that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. And that drives the insecure to desperation. They want a reaction. They want to see you descend to their level. They want you to justify yourself, to get irritated, to justify yourself. But you were not called to compete in vanity. You were separated to rule with authority. When you choose silence instead of fight, focus instead of response, prayer instead of attack, you show who actually has power. And the most interesting thing? They feel it. Even without words, your presence weighs, your posture corrects, your spirit unsettles. Being chosen is knowing when to speak and when to be silent. It is discerning what is worth your energy. And more importantly, it is understanding that your mission does not need anyone's permission to be fulfilled. Continue in silence. Not as someone fleeing conflict, but as someone who has already won internal battles, far too many to waste energy on small wars. Your silence is not weakness, it is strategy. And those who hesitate between envying you and admiring you will feel its weight. Being chosen can seem solitary at times, but you are never alone. What many do not know, and perhaps you yourself have forgotten, is that there is spiritual backing over your life. You are separated. You are marked. And no matter how hard they try to erase that, the heavens itself confirm it. The crooked looks, the fake smiles, the veiled criticisms, all of it comes, but none of it remains. Because those who walk with purpose carry protection. They hesitate between envying you and admiring you, because they sense something in you they cannot explain. They call it luck, a star. But it is grace. It is undeserved favor. It is a shine that does not fade, because you are not the one sustaining it. It is God. It is the anointing. It is the truth that dwells in you. Therefore, do not fear judgment, abandonment, or resistance. You were raised to break patterns, to break cycles, and to bring light where there was only repetition and fear. This unsettles. This shakes structures, but it also inspires. And even if they take time to admit it, many will be transformed just by watching you. You are a living testimony. Every step you take is accompanied. And even if the world hesitates between valuing you or attacking you, heaven has already decided. You are chosen. Others' discomfort reveals their internal limits, not your inability. Therefore, Do not diminish yourself to appear smaller in the mirror of another. Maintaining integrity may isolate you, but it also creates space for true encounters. People who connect with your essence come to add. Those who do not bend to the new stay in their place, and that is healthy for everyone. Your progress annoys those who live by appearances because it exposes contradictions. Authenticity is cutting because it severs the fabrics of falsity that sustain superficial relationships. This cut is necessary for the new to grow. When you choose to stay steadfast, you transform the environment around you by resonance, not by imposition. Continue moving forward with humility and firmness. Humility to learn when feedback is honest. Firmness to maintain boundaries when the opinion is an attempt at control. The combination of these two elements protects your mission and expands your ability to influence in a real and lasting way. You do not need to carry the world on your shoulders. Fulfilling a purpose involves simple, consistent steps. Do what is right, even without an audience. Prioritize what nourishes your soul. Say no when necessary. These acts, added to time, build a trajectory that speaks for itself and resists judgment. Notice who truly celebrates and who merely observes. The first walk beside you. The second may even desire your place, but will not undertake the journey. Value those who build and conserve energy with those who try to slow you down. This choice is not selfishness. It is wisdom to keep focus where there is real return. Finally, remember, being authentic is a daily act of courage. It can hurt, it can confuse, it can isolate for a period. Yet it is the most powerful path to live with meaning. Your truth does not need applause to be valuable. It needs fidelity. Move forward with courage. Shine without asking for permission. Do not change to fit the limited understanding of someone who has not yet looked at themselves honestly. You are unique, luminescent among forms, a living proof that living truthfully is the greatest victory someone can achieve.